Good morning, everyone. Rise and shine. Happy Monday. Welcome back to Faith Family Focus. I am one of your co-hosts, Faith Suggs, former Duke women's basketball graduate and current CEO and founder of Brand by Faith, a social media branding company dedicated to telling the stories of our viewers and clients. This wonderful man next to me is my father, Shafer Suggs, former NFL player with the New York Jets and the Cincinnati Bengals, and has also served as VP and on the executive board for the RPFPC, also known as the NFLPA out of Chicago. Good morning, Dad. Happy Monday.
Good morning, Faith.
What's new?
We have a lot. We have a lot that's new. We have a lot that's new, yeah.
We got a couple stuff. I got photos for people for that very golf outing you were discussing. Nothing's new. Nothing's great.
Well, we got a lot to talk about today with NIL. We have a huge week with our NFL annual golf outing where we're giving out our scholarship winners, and then later this week, you and I will be honored to be at the National Football League summer getaway with our sponsored broadcast station 360 TV as a partner. So that's going to be exciting in Florida.
Yes,
there's a lot going on. So
yes.
And then I really wanted to talk about. I know we talked briefly about it, but man, I was going back NIL. I was going back to some of our previous shows from 2 seasons ago when we began the initial conversations about the legislation being passed for NIL.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going through some of the content of some of our storyboards, and it's amazing how this has materialized into I don't think we imagined that it would be where it is. So I'm very curious to hear your perspective on it and talk about that too.
Yep. No, it's been officially about 1 year and probably a couple weeks since NIL the NCAA officially announced a year ago that NCAA collegiate athletes could make money off their name, image, likeness, NIL. I agree. It's been a kind of a crazy year. I don't think we ever really thought. I don't think we had an assumption of how it was going to go. I think that's fair. I think we were very much up in the air. Good morning. I think we were very much up in the air. Like, we don't know how it's going to go, but we know it's going to go right. We knew it was a good thing for college athletes to now be able to make money. We said because for entrepreneurial gain, for the ability to make money for their families, to teach them firsthand experience of marketing, branding, and entrepreneurship, right? All these great things. We're talking all that stuff. Now that we're a year out, I'm very interested to see what you think the concerns are, because even I have some concerns, but also the benefits and where we think this can go and what needs to happen to keep it on the rails. But before we get there, I just want to cover a few bases. I was able to go to WNBA AllStar this weekend in Chicago, and it was great. So well put together. I heard from numerous people who have been to multiple AllStars that this was the best one so far, the most attended. They sold out Wintrust Arena yesterday for the game. Sylvia Fowles and Sue Bird had their final All-Star game. Sylvia Fowles dunked. They said that it just looked like such a great environment, and there was just such a good reception of women's basketball in Chicago. I mean, obviously after the Sky one, the fanmanship boosted, but to have Candace Parker, to have Allie Quigley go for a four-peat in the three-point competition, it just was so encouraging to see the city of Chicago really put it on the platform that it deserved to be on.
They really embraced it, huh? It's all over the news here. I know it's kind of neat because we're in the same environment now. So you're watching the same news I'm watching it, but it was exciting to watch it. They had a really nice segment on ABC last night with them, how they were spending time with the kids, doing all the different games and stuff like that. They had some highlights of the game. That was really, really nice. Let me do something really quick. We haven't done it in a while, Faith, is also coming back to our show, E360 TV is our major platform out of Phoenix, Arizona. And our show can be seen live on Amazon Fire, Roku,
Facebook,
Apple TV. Again, we're in our second season or our third season. We're in our third season. And as a result of that, we were able to build a relationship, my current relationship with the NFL. And now the NFL is a partner for players and players' families like ourselves that will allow them to be able to have their own show, tell their own story, talk about their own narrative. And we were honored again to be a part of the first display of this program. And I know players are excited about being able to do something like this. But again, our show can be streamed live. It's currently streaming live on any other platforms that I didn't mention, Faith.
Roku, YouTube, Facebook, normals. Yeah, we've been lucky.
Yes.
Lucky. It's been awesome. This has been awesome. StreamYard is such an awesome platform to use as well for something like this. And then, of course, like you said, we were able to put this to practice kind of and work with behind the face mask with the NFLPA Chicago. And they've already gotten 3 episodes done, 3 amazing episodes. And one coming up surrounding their golf outing tomorrow, for those of you who don't know. Which we would touch on a little bit, but very, very, very good stuff. I mean, it's been a fun 2 years, I'll say, working with them, and how lucky we've been, for sure.
I wanted to do that. I just wanted to do that, and before we pivot back, because we get new viewers every show, and then we assume that people have been watching this forever. We get new viewers every show, and I just want to bring people up to speed. Right now, we have 3 segments, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're doing a new live segment every Monday, but because we have so much content that we chose to, on Wednesday and Fridays, to run shows, some of our popular shows of the 250 episodes that we have. So some of our audience can see that too. So I wanted to kind of bring our viewers up to speed to where we are with our show and where we're going. And so that's exciting. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to do that because I felt we hadn't done it in a while. Okay.
Yep, no problem. No problem at all. And you just reminded me, there is something that I want to discuss. If you have not signed the petition for Brittney Griner to raise awareness for her cause, but also, doing whatever we can to try to help her and her family in this process. An update on Brittney Griner. She has pled guilty in Russia. And the goal of that is that if you can plead guilty, it's possible for 2 countries to trade prisoners. And we'll be able to get Brittney back here in America. The AllStar weekend, that was the theme across the board. There were endless amounts of Brittney Griner jerseys. She was on the tickets. Her wife was there. The second half, all of the All-Stars came out in Brittney Griner jerseys and finished the second half in her jersey. It's just a reminder. And I guess I should say, why should we care about this? She broke the law. She minimally broke the law in Russia. Yes, correct. We don't know if that was planted or not. That's still up in the air. But also, as an LGBTQ Black woman in society, it's important for us to raise awareness and encourage people to listen to her story and work hard for her and her family, just the same as we would for LeBron James. It's just very important for us, regardless of what you believe or what you think you know. We don't know anything about any of this, right? Unless you are Joe Biden, we don't know the truth about anything. And so continuously trying to keep that family in your prayers, but also do our job to make sure that she receives the care and support that she should as a professional athlete, but also as a Black woman, and also as an LGBTQ woman. It's all these things. It's very big and up in the air for us to handle this correctly and to show people that America values people like Brittney Griner. That's very important. So just a reminder to keep that in your prayers, but also look to see what you can do. That was the in-your-face theme this weekend, coming from the WNBA, coming from sports. If you haven't seen it, it's trending. People are working hard. Her trial started last Monday. It's very scary when you really think about it, that just an athlete can now be facing 10 years in Russian labor prison. It's scary. So that's why I say keep in your prayers and do what you can do.
Let me ask you this question, Faith. So what I hear from you is that she pled guilty to position herself. That was a strategy to position herself so there could be negotiations and trades. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Because I believe the amount of THC or CBD in the vape pen that she was carrying is legal in America.
Okay.
And it's very minimal in Russia, but you know how Russia moves. But also it's terrible timing, right? Like Russia, Ukraine, right? She's coming back from overseas. I mean, it's all bad. She's mixed up in some stuff. That's why I said, if you don't know, we don't know. Joe Biden knows, right?
Yeah.
So what we can do is try to continue to make sure that we picture ourselves in her shoes, in that family's shoes. But yeah, I wanted to make sure we touched on that because that is it was very blatantly visible.
Yeah.
That is the narrative, that is the story, that is the conversation we're having right now.
So over the weekend, so I saw you did send me some pictures. I mean, being around that environment was probably just really neat for you. But you also got a chance to see some of your former teammates, which was really neat. You want to talk a little bit about, other than just being around women's basketball?
Was great. It was whenever you put women's basketball in the same room, it's always a great environment and great experience. Nice seeing old teammates for sure, seeing everyone working at some point. So for those of you who don't know, All-Star Weekend partnered up, perfect timing with the Nike EYBL National Championship in Chicago. So the same weekend, those two events were happening. So you had over 50 to 100 teams of young girls playing youth basketball in the same city. Yeah, the same city as the WNBA All-Star game. So it just was just so nice to see, teammates who are coaching, teammates who are working and hosting events. It just was such an awesome experience, and that's why, they really did a great job with it. And I think that they should keep it in cities like this. I mean, and there should be more teams. They also announced in the second half that they're going to play a 40-game regular season next year, which is more. And they also will be chartering all jets this fall for the rest of the season for teams. For people who don't know, WNBA players fly charter. You can catch them on one of your flights if you're lucky. So now they're able to fly charter for the rest of the season, which is too late, but much needed for sure. So
making progress
as well.
Right.
Hey, small steps, right, in the right direction. But no, it was just really, really awesome weekend. So such a great experience to be part of for sure. Okay. Before we forget, I want to make sure there's a big event tonight and a big event tomorrow that you need to be telling the viewers about. Shafer Suggs, I changed our whole theme right now for you to be able to tap into what's happening tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. It's a build up. It's our biggest event of the year, biggest fundraiser event of the year, our national annual 23rd golf outing. And we're very excited. We kick off our event at the Empire Room in Chicago, downtown Naperville today, our VIP party. And then tomorrow is the big golf event. And there's Roger Clare, the former mayor. But these are some great pictures. But yeah, it's going to be a really great 2 days, and I'm really looking forward to it. And this will be the first time that you will be able to have an opportunity to be at the event, which is going to be really nice. I hope you are excited about it also.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't golf. That wasn't taught to me. I want everyone to know that. The other Suggs child can golf.
So that's not golfing either, right? We're just going to be riding around in a car greeting people.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
few points about the golf outing you may have missed. The golf outing is tonight, like you said, VIP party at the Empire Room. 2, it starts tomorrow. I think registration's at 9 a.m. Shotgun start. 5 p.m. is a award ceremony where they will celebrate this year's academic scholarship recipients as well as the youth football equipment grant recipients. We have 3 teams this year. And yeah, I think I touched on everything. It is, the auction. Don't forget about the auction. There is the auction, but all proceeds and money raised for this event will go towards the equipment grants, towards the academic scholarship grants, and any other philanthropy work by the NFLPA Chicago, the RPFPC. So if you can't come, at least try to donate some money, right?
That was nice. So just so people understand, the former NFL Players of Chicago is a 501c. We are the extension of the NFLPA. And because we wanted to do philanthropy work, we had to create a not-for-profit. And we created a parallel organization called the Retired Professional Football Players of Chicago, RPFPC. And this is how we do all of our events, all of our charitable events, and this is how we raise all of our money under the RPFPC shield. Yes. And again, tomorrow night, you will not only have the new recipients of the youth grant, but in the scholarship winners for the male and female, but we also have some former scholarship winners, which is always nice to have them come back. So I really appreciate you reminding me of the most important part of our event, Faith. So thank you.
Yep. You can visit the website, www.rpfpc.org. There's a couple pop-up banners that'll take you right to the event. It might be too late to sign up, obviously, but it's not too late to find ways to donate, stop by, say hello, or even just learn more about how you can get involved throughout the year from the organization. But
thank you.
No problem. That's what I do here. Let's talk some NIL, but let's talk some logistics first, right? I wanted to share this so I could knock everybody off the rocker. Actually, hold on. Let me share this because it's still up here in our evidence from a couple weeks ago. This was said by a player at Michigan. NIL is bringing out a lot of selfishness in our world. Driving a Ferrari and looking for the next bag of money is all temporary. Not true. Impacting communities and giving back lasts for generations. That's true. Be the person you look up to as a kid. And we debunked that comment by Brad. It seemed very insensitive to other people's, experiences, but also I told people that they need to learn to mind their business with other people's money. That's what my takeaway was from that show we did. I wanted to say this. Paige Beckers out of UConn, if you don't know, star player, can rake in more NIL money than the top 9 men's stars in the Sweet 16 combined. This was put out on March 24, 2022. Here are the stats. UConn superstar Paige Beckers is one of the most well-known athletes in college sports today. Fact. The fame translates directly to her money-making potential now that we've entered the NIL era. Bonus. Beckers is thought to make $63,000 per social media post, more than the top 9 men's players in the Sweet 16 combined.
Wait. $63,000 per post?
Yes. I don't think you realize how much money these kids are making.
So, okay.
$63,000 for one post. Now, mind you, the only brand she's working with in the Sweet 16 will likely be StockX, which is one of her biggest brands that she works with. If you don't know what StockX, it's a shoe retail business. Okay. They buy shoes and then resell them. So like Jordans, Nikes, Adidas, it's a top footwear company.
Okay.
1 second. I think that I'm just grabbing the stats for this. I also hear my robot running into a wall.
Boy, are you doing that? That's amazing.
63,000 posts, right? Working with NIL, I can 100% say the top 3 leading sports are, what do you think?
Basketball, football, and track.
Women's basketball. Okay. What?
Women's.
Come on now.
Sports. Basketball, right?
Now, the 2 benefits basketball has is that you can see their face, right? 10 times more marketable, right? Football is a little harder, but football will always and forever be college sports, baby, right? We have the bowl games. It'll always be successful.
Right.
What we have seen, good morning. What we have seen is that because women's basketball, women in particular, are more marketable. And when I say more marketable, it's they think about all the things that took for me to get ready this morning, right? The hair products, the hair brushes, the makeup, the face wash, my shirt moolah, my necklaces, I would have earrings on, my nails, my feet are done. All these things, right? Men do not do, right? So the amount of money I invested in myself this morning, let's say I have put $150, $400 worth of stuff to keep myself presentable as a woman, right? And when we get on the court, it's only more now. The girls have lashes, they have their hair, the long ponytails, right? They have all different colors. They are doing their thing now with the appearances, right? Women can work with every single brand on their body, all right? And let's not forget there's clothing, there's shoes, there's all these things girls can work with that men just don't. So the reasoning behind why brands are now turning towards women athletes like a Paige Beckers, like we talked about, for those of you new, Paige is at UConn. And they said that during the Sweet 16, she was thought to make $63K per post. Not surprising, right? Because, one, Paige has a better chance of reaching little girls than I think whoever the top athlete was on the men's side, which the viewership between the men's and the women's basketball Sweet 16 Elite Eights were the women had more viewership than the men's tournament for the first time, right? Paige has a better chance of reaching a target market, young ladies, right? Or young boys, you never know, who are playing basketball or playing sports than whoever the top player is on the men's side. So if I'm a brand like Adidas, if I'm a brand like Nike, I'm thinking, what do I need to do to get involved with Paige Beckers so that when all those eyes are on her in the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight and the Final Four, mind you, she didn't play the first 2 games of the tournament. And she's still racking in $63,000 per post. What can I do to get involved with that so that I can boost my brand? People would not expect that the women are making the most money. And I think one thing that women are doing the best at are taking strategic partnerships and creating long-term deals and relationships in comparison to men who are just taking big partnerships and big marketing deals and not continuing them on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So if a Duke basketball player does a partnership with Bojangles, that's a one-off deal. He's making $2,000 per post, right? $5,000 per post, whatever his agent set up. Paige Beckers maybe will work with Bojangles and do $1,000 per post, but she'll make sure it's across 4 months. So she normally will rack in, let's say the max will be $20,000, right? So what we're seeing is that the women are approaching this a year later. Women are approaching this more business savvy, but also acknowledging we have the ability to reach more brands than ever before, right? And they're capitalizing off of it. So for me, my favorite part, now that we're a year into NIL, officially a year and a couple of weeks, is that the women have really been standing out and taking this very seriously, the way they should have, right? And I guess my question for you, Dad, is, or a good question and something I've been thinking is like, why is it that the women are more locked in or they get it, right? And I guess my thing is, well, there's only 11 to 12, 13 spots on a roster in the WNBA, right? And the starting salary as a WNBA rookie is around $70,000, right? Paige Beckers is making $69,000 per post, $63,000 per post.
Right.
So I think one of the reasons they're so locked in is that they get that this stuff only lasts for so long. And if they can capitalize off of it, they can probably make more money than they'll make their rookie season.
Right. I think what they also realize that now that they can become a professional, they're realizing being a professional on the court has its limitations, and they can take advantage of being a professional off the court. And I see them, and I guess I see them through your eyes, putting a lot more importance on branding themselves, marketing themselves, and what you just articulated just a little bit about earlier was, that they realize that it's just such a short window.
Yeah.
I think they're hungrier too. They're hungrier. And obviously, I didn't realize when you were talking about all the different ways that they can market themselves, their shoes, their hair, their makeup, I didn't really even think about that. So it's just amazing to watch, and I'm really happy to watch. I guess I'm sitting in another lens with this. I'm reading an article about Nick Saban and how some of the other BCS coaches are complaining about it and how they want the NCAA to.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about college coaches. That's actually a great thing, because what was our biggest worry going into NIL was how will the older generation of coaches receive this change?
Right.
And we have seen how many college coaches, legendary Hall of Fame, older coaches, retire or resign this past season, right? Or kids transfer. Because here's the thing, right? College coaches, technically by the rules, are not supposed to be involved in any way in NIL. The max of what college coaches can do is hire and outsource people to come in and teach their athletes more about NIL and how to become lucrative, responsible, all these things, right? That's about the max they can do. Nick Saban saying that NIL provides an unfair advantage for a place like a Jackson State under Deion Sanders.
No, I don't think Nick Saban said that.
No, he was complaining about it. He said there was cheating involved, and then Nick Saban, the other coach, and Deion Sanders were like, "Really? Do we want to go there, Nick? Because you do a lot of under the table deals." Yeah, that came out.
I thought it was the Texas coach that said it, because here's the article.
No, it was Nick Saban.
It said the concept of name, image, and likeness was for players, and this is to be able to use their name, the image, and likeness to create opportunities for themselves, and that is what Saban has said. So last year, he said our team, our guys, probably made as much or more than anybody in the country. But that creates a situation where you can basically buy players. So Saban said,
I have it right here. He said that SEC West rival Texas A&M bought its entire 2022 recruiting class with NIL money, and that's what's hilarious. Because what does Nick Saban do yearly?
That's basically what he's saying.
That was what was so funny about it, because Texas A&M is now legally, technically, doing what the Power 5 big boy schools were doing already with the pomp and circumstance of Alabama football, right? Texas football, Michigan football, right? If you think kids are going to Alabama for the love of football, and that alone, we're missing the whole point here. That's why Nick Saban shouldn't have said anything.
So what did he say again? Because
here it is. He basically said the SEC West rival Texas A&M bought its entire 2022 recruiting cast with NIL money. So what he means by that is the kids come on the visit. Texas A&M coach, Deion Sanders at Jackson State, all these great coaches who are understanding NIL who are buying into it, they go, here at Texas A&M, we have this department that's dedicated to NIL and ensuring that our athletes will make and learn and become educated on NIL. And right, okay, we saw Miami men's basketball, Nigel Pack from Kansas State. He was looking at all these schools, and somehow right after signing to Miami, he got an $800,000 deal across 2 years with a car dealership in Fort Lauderdale. So that's what Nick Saban was kind of hinting at. But here's the thing. That's legal. If your boosters, if your surrounding businesses go, Nigel Pack's coming on a visit. We saw it on Twitter. We saw that Devin Suggs is visiting Alabama this weekend. We saw it on Twitter. Let's do what we have to do to contact not Devin Suggs' representation and get him some money so that he's interested in coming and playing in Tuscaloosa, right? That's what Nick Saban's kind of saying. The issue with what Nick Saban was saying was, Nick, you've been doing this. You've been doing this. Recruiting has been a financial, very transactional experience for a very long time. This is not, NIL does not change anything. It just makes it now can be in the news. The media can capture it. We can talk about how much kids are making. So when he said that, he received a lot of backlash. I don't know if you know that. He received a lot of backlash from the football community, from the sports community. People were like, why did he say that? Because Nick Saban, it's like the pot calling the kettle black. You got to be careful with what you say. But also, people are very uncomfortable with people now commenting anything bad about NIL. Because if you comment bad things about NIL, you're looped into the group of people that are saying, oh, NIL is terrible. These kids don't deserve the money. That's why people were like, Nick Saban, you should have just shh. Because wait a year. Give it a second. Right, and also, Nick Saban, you're comparing about Texas A&M getting recruiting people. You are Alabama football. How many recruiting classes have you had?
Yeah, the coach. So the Texas A&M coach Jimbo Fisher got defensive after signing day, and he said rumor that the fun of NIL deals was a key factor in his staff securing ranked recruiting class. He said there's no $30 million fund, there's no $5 million fund, there's no $10 million fund, but the money's coming from somewhere, right?
No, you're fine. It's just
you're right though, Faith. This, as you were thinking about it, you're so right. Here's is what I did some reading before. The NCAA is out of the picture. There's nothing that they can do to stop NIL.
Nothing. Just leave it. Just let it. Now, that's what we need to talk about today.
Right.
Is what needs to happen.
What needs to happen
to keep it from going off the rails, from doing what Nick Saban is speaking on out of. First of all, we all know Nick Saban was coming from a place of like frustration and also like, I'm losing recruits to Texas A&M and Jackson State. I'm Alabama.
But on the other side of his mouth, he's saying, well, my guys get more NIL deals than anybody. So why is he complaining?
And here's the thing, do they? Are you doing everything you need to do to make sure that your athlete? That's the thing. Nick Saban, and I'm not going to speak strongly on this, but Nick Saban may not want to invest his time in NIL. He may not want, the way Deion Sanders is right now hiring people to come speak to his athletes, getting brands in there to meet with them. The way that Deion Sanders is doing it, and he's thinking strategically, how will this impact recruiting for me? Kids will want to come play for me because I'm prime time, but also they want to play for me because I can provide them to get these opportunities to get money, to eventually send money back home, to get all the nice things they want to get, to be professional athletes, to go to the league. All these things Deion Sanders is prepping me for. He's up to date with the times. Nick Saban, he's like, I've been doing this for years. Why the heck
illegally been doing it?
do I need to invest my money to tell these kids to come to Alabama? I'm Alabama, right? So I get what he's saying. Unfortunately, Nick, though, you sounded petty.
He comes from a different place. He's come from a different place where Deion Sanders coming from a great space in terms of really, really setting these guys up to be entrepreneurs and taking control of their lives, and not only taking care of their families, but also taking care of themselves. And that's what we need more. I think early in one of our shows, do you remember? I think one of the things that you said that these universities, if they're going to help get in front of this or be a part of this, is have someone on site that is teaching curriculum or somebody within the team to really help these kids manage that aspect of their life, this new aspect of their lives, because if they don't, the third party vultures, which is what's happening right now, right? That's you see, and you only hear about that too.
Yeah, the middlemen are now involved. We're seeing more middlemen than ever before. Everybody wants to get a piece of the pie, right? And what I say by middlemen is people that swoop in to represent athletes, which is fine, all legal, and they take 15% of every deal. The standard top agency takes 20%.
Wow.
Right? So they're offering 15%. So if you get $1,000, they get 50% of $1,000 on just one athlete. Say they have 100 athletes, say they have 50 athletes, right? And so that's nice, right? The middleman now exists. There's jobs created there, right?
But isn't there a legitimate, I mean, there's definitely a value in having good representation for NIL, right?
Yes, it's overwhelming. And you know what? It also prevents you from being underpaid, right? Like athletes, what did we know? What do you know at 18 about contract law? What do you know about how much you should be worth? You don't, unless you are actively researching, communicating with other athletes, all these other things for you to be able to know how much you should be getting paid, right? Paige Beckers could easily have been getting paid only $5,000 in the C16 for a post, right? But because Paige Beckers is signed to a top agency, which is legal, her agency knows, okay, one, we're only working with brands that align with where Paige Beckers is going. Two, it won't conflict with other brands she's working with. And three, Paige is getting paid exactly what she would get paid if she was a professional athlete. That was the whole goal of all of this, right? Because Paige Beckers' face was going to be all over March Madness, all over everything. And so she was going to be paid for that. So it's good to have representation. It's also good because it educates you. You're forced to communicate with people that know what's going on so they can help you make the money you deserve to make, help you set up the camps you want to make, the clinics, whatever it is, it helps you do that. So it's very important. Now, I will say this one thing. Representation is more competitive ever before because these top agencies want to start working with athletes as soon as they get to college, because those 4 years where they build those relationships, those 4 years where they can build those relationships, they can then take them to the pro. So it's like, you know what I mean, Dad? So it's like 4 years they work with them. Paige Beckers has worked with, let's say, CAA or Wasserman or any of those top agencies that represent women's basketball players, right? Or NBA players. They form those relationships for 4 years. And then when Paige Beckers goes, okay, I'm about to declare for the draft, they go, all right, Paige, would you want to sign with us officially as a professional agency? And she's like, yeah, we've already worked for 4 years. You guys have made me all this money. Boom. It's a game now. Right? It's just starting at 18. It's not starting at 23 anymore. It's not starting. It's just, so it's definitely an eye-opening experience to see how representation is altered in this process.
Right. You want to run a quick commercial break, and then we can come back and we can pivot, and I'll come back and continue while you finish up, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is good. We have probably about 15 or 20 minutes. I want to continue the conversation because I want to pivot toward maybe some of the things that are happening here locally with NIL.
Let me just. Okay. Here's Mac Brown. Can everybody hear?
Yes.
The name, image, and likeness era in college sports has evolved quickly since the floodgates were opened last July.
The combination of transfer portal and name, image, and likeness at the same time made it now where people are buying people off people's campuses. Sometimes when things get as dire as they are right now in college football, it's time to fix them.
That fix, for many coaches, includes stopping NIL deals from being used as incentives to convince players to switch schools. Boosters and businesses known as collectives are finding creative ways to pay athletes that may fall under the letter of the NCAA's new law, but not quite the spirit.
Almost every day, we see a new, more aggressive, inventive way for people to funnel money to athletes.
The NCAA sent new guidelines this week that make it clear that boosters and collectives are not allowed to speak with athletes before they arrive on campus or offer them money as an inducement to attend a particular school. Deciding when a deal crosses the line from endorsement to inducement remains a difficult task.
Certainly going to be a huge an issue for the NCAA trying to figure out how do we regulate this, right? Unless someone is absolutely saying this is for you to attend this university. These things have been happening for a very long time.
Corey Stanasia helped write Florida's state NIL law last year and now works with multiple collectives through his company Dreamfield. He said the scope of the NCAA's authority will almost definitely be decided in court.
No matter how we end up here, someone's going to sue somebody, whether it's the booster suing the NCAA, a school suing the NCAA, or even an athlete potentially suing their own institution. These are all possibilities.
The first step to prompting a potential lawsuit is the NCAA or one of its member schools attempting to use these rules to block a specific deal. NCAA leaders said on Monday that they would only pursue past violations from the last 10 months if they come across particularly egregious cases. Moving forward,
isn't it funny we were just talking about
How are they going to?
how bad where it could go?
So the NCAA now is coming in the final hour, and they're going to try to now. Don't they understand that there's going to be very creative, strategic ways for universities and teams to bundle packages that are part of the recruiting offer, right?
Well, Miami football did it first. A brand came in and gave a team-wide deal so every kid got about $500 to $1,000. So South Carolina, Under Armour worked with UCLA, South Carolina presented a T-shirt, a page, and it said, if you do this post, we'll give you $500.
So how do you? Okay, that's the existing.
Every Under Armour athlete.
Wow. So, but I'm talking about high school kids going into college.
Yeah, that's starting now. You also, in certain states, high school students can do NIL.
Right.
Texas, Florida, there's a couple in there. They can do deals right now. They can get paid for it.
How do you frame it? How do you frame a deal, an NIL deal, that a kid's going to Texas, he's being recruited by Indiana, he's being recruited by Wisconsin, he's being recruited by UCLA, okay? And a part of what he's looking for, because it's there, is in the back of his head, is what type of NIL deal that's going to distinguish one university over the other. How do they frame that? How do you begin to make that decision as a young football player? And how do you begin to do that? And I'm thinking to myself, there's got to be within these universities a very creative way to make that available. If the NCAA is going to try to regulate it, I think like anything else with the NCAA, it's going to take them a while because they don't make any decisions really, really quick. But how do you actually regulate that? Because now, as a family now realizing that not only can a player make money, obviously they get a free university, free scholarship, but now they're looking at opportunities to set their family up and create ways to relieve some debt for their families or give some release for their families. That's going to be very important in the decisions for some of these high school athletes that are going to some of these schools. So I don't understand how you can't, huh?
You can't. You can't without being the bad guy.
Right.
You can't without being the bad guy. And I say that because it's too early to set restrictions. If you do set restrictions, I think it should be on the representation to make sure that you're doing it with validity, you have experience, all that stuff. But telling the kids, like, kids are working with alcoholic companies, like alcoholic beverages. So technically, if they're only 21, they can, right?
What's the booster, though, Faith? What's the booster? Is a car dealership a booster?
If they went to the University of Florida, if they went to Miami, Nike's not a booster.
That's what I'm saying. They're saying boosters. So these people that have been boosters,
alumni.
This is a whole different revenue stream for these kids. And they're not coming from boosters. They're coming from endorsements.
Well, the money always came from the boosters. If you know what I'm saying.
Say that again.
The money has always come from boosters.
Right.
Right? It was just not talked about.
So they're gonna stream it through a way.
So boosters is alumni.
Right, I know.
And
I know, but I don't know.
There is no limitations to how they can, if they want to sign a kid for a deal, they can sign a kid for a deal. It's still beneficial for their company as well. When they start, and here's the thing, Dad. What's happening right now in the light has been happening in the dark for years and years and years. Alabama and Texas A&M, Alabama and Miami have been in bidding wars and recruiting for years. If Nick Saban and his company offered $100,000 and Texas A&M could only offer $60,000, the kid went to Alabama. This is just the exact same thing. It's just now morally we're talking about it and people are uncomfortable because they think, oh, this is going to get out of hand. Man, this has been happening.
So wait,
we've been doing this.
Let's departmental. Let's distinguish this because you have that aspect of it that's been happening, but then there's also the opportunity, like what Paige has, that's just going to happen because some of these companies are going to contact. So you got two different aspects of NIL. The NIL opportunities that are self-created by your brand as an individual athlete, and then you have NIL deals that are part of the recruiting process.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm talking about the recruiting process. I'm talking about college players, high school players are going to be coming in college. How are the NIL deals going to impact the decisions that high school and families are making?
That's the same thing I was telling you about what I just said. Nick Saban offered an incoming freshman $100,000, and Texas A&M only offered them $80,000. And their kid committed to Alabama. That's why I said this has been happening. I was talking about 18-year-olds. I was talking about 17-year-olds.
But how did they offer it though? That's what I'm trying to figure out. How do they do
it? Okay. I can't say anything. But continuing this part, basically what I'm saying is now it's just legal to basically give a kid a price. Right? We have a booster. We have groups in the recruiting deal. We have this NIL department we've created. These are the resources your kid will have. And here's the boosters. Our athletes in total have racked in $1.8 million this past season in NIL. In comparison to our competitors at $800,000, $500,000, $400,000. If I'm a kid who's thinking, I want to prioritize NIL in my experience, I'm thinking, okay, this school is going to take me to where I need to go. So when I say recruiting, it's the same thing across the board because coaches want their kids to make money now, right? And that's the issue with what Nick Saban said. Nick, you're behind the 8 ball here. You're struggling. You're not seeing where this is going to go. NIL is changing the recruiting landscape. We said that a year ago. It's going to happen. It's happening, right? We've watched how many coaches retire. It's happening. How are coaches going to continue to do this without guidelines? I don't know. I think boosters need guidelines for sure. Maybe A booster can only contribute one deal to one athlete for a certain period of time for that one season. I don't know. You know what I mean? They'll find a way around it. The booster decides, all right, I'm going to do a 7th-month deal with this kid, and we're paying them each month. Right? So it's, like I said, you can't make restrictions yet because it's too early. Something has to go catastrophically wrong. Someone has to break the rules openly, and someone has to be the fall guy or the fall woman in order for guidelines to come in place. And I think that's what the NCAA is trying to do. They're letting it all go, see how it plays out, and then now we swoop in on our white horse. We'll save the day. We told you guys NIL could be an issue. This is why we're going to implement these guidelines, these rules, these restrictions, because it's too early now. That's what I was saying. We can't, right? We cannot.
What do you say to your normal person that said this is really destroying the integrity of college sports? Let me finish.
College sports, trust me, the integrity's gone. It's been
right. That's where I was going. Let me finish, because that still seems to be the narrow-minded comment, right? In terms of you want these kids to come to get an education. The kids are going to come get an education. Are the kids going to come get an education? They're going to realize that some of those kids are there to get an education, but there are a large portion of those kids that these universities are bringing into their school to create revenue and win games. Okay, so let's not talk out of both sides of your mouth.
Yep.
Right? Let's
integrity doesn't exist. It's just integrity doesn't exist in collegiate sports. There's a reason why it's a multi-billion-dollar business. Right. Integrity can't exist in recruiting. This business, and I learned this this weekend, speaking to people at WNBA AllStar, they said the number one advice they have for people working in the sports business is to try to keep this as keep it a people's business, right? Because your morality only goes as far as the relationships you can build, right? If you're building a relationship with someone who is known for bending the rules, which there are a lot of them out there, your friendship with that person, your relationship with that person is very transactional. It's going to be what that person is. Now, when college athletes, there's still the responsibility of taking these kids in and promising their families to provide them the next better life. But now that involves making sure that their kids can make some money and make sure that their kids aren't getting the short part of the stick in this whole recruiting process, this whole NIL process, all of this. It's about the experience. Each kid wants a national championship, but what are they going to do with those 4 years, and how are those 4 years going to impact the rest of their life? Now we have the ability to do that, right? You don't have to be a star player to have the ability to set your life on the right path. We got to make sure we try to keep the integrity of following the rules, not giving the NCAA any reasons to come in, right? That has to happen, because the moment the NCAA gets one reason, I already know they're going to set a guideline that doesn's make any sense. They have been setting bad guidelines for years.
Right. I love what Deion Sanders is doing. Is there a video, or there any what he's doing? Because that's really what needs to happen. Is more of that type of teaching and mentoring with these athletes when it comes to business and entrepreneurship and NIL, right?
I don't have a video, but I agree. Jax, he is doing the exactly what needs to be done. He's not breaking the rules in the sense where he's overstepping his bounds or reaching out to brands for athletes. None of that stuff. He doesn't have time for that.
Right.
But he does create an environment where creativity is allowed, right? And he doesn't make the kids feel uncomfortable for prioritizing other things other than just football.
Yeah. Do you know what he said when he got his contract? He said he was going to ask for so much money that they would have to put him on layaway. But that's his mindset. He's always been, about branding himself, and so I applaud that in terms of we were not comfortable back then, but now we are, right? Mm-hmm. This is where we are with it right now.
is heading in the direction. Where is it going to go? I hope it goes in positive light, and I hope there's more Deion Sanders out there who are willing to educate themselves and step outside of the box of what we think college sports is supposed to look like and accept it for what it is and try to evolve with it.
Right.
So, yeah, but awesome. Great show. Thank you everyone for joining us and staying with us. Again, this is Faith Family Focus. We use our faith as a vehicle to help heal and sustain others in strengthening their family core. And of course, our slogan,
let go, let God, let go, let faith, let go, let love. Great show, Faith Sons.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.